Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a financial dilemma that I think keeps a lot of us up at night.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
It's that, that paralyzed feeling you get when you look at your savings. You know you should be doing something smarter with it,
Mm.
but you're just terrified of locking it away.
It's the classic tug of war.
Yeah.
You want the high interest rates, the yield,
Hmm.
but you also need the liquidity. You need to know you can get that cash if you need it.
Exactly. It's like I see the news talking about these great rates and I think, I want that. But then I look at a certificate of deposit,
Yeah.
a CD, and it says 5-year term, and my brain just screams.
No way. Yeah.
No way. I can't predict my life 5 years from now. I might need that money next Tuesday.
And that's a completely rational fear. And honestly, it's why people leave, literally thousands of dollars on the table. They just settle for that. What, 0.5% in a savings account?
Right, because the 4 per CD feels like a prison sentence for your money.
It does.
So that's what we're here to talk about. We're doing a deep dive into the CE ladder. It sounds like something you'd buy at a hardware store.
It does a little bit.
But from what we've researched, it's a strategy designed to hack that exact problem.
That is the mission today. We're going to break down how you can structure your savings to get regular access to your cash to fix that liquidity anxiety while still capturing those, headline-grabbing long-term rates.
And to ground us in reality, today is Monday, February 2nd, 2026. And the landscape for this is, well, it's pretty interesting right now. Top 5-year CD rates are hovering just above 4% APY.
Which is, historically speaking, a very solid return for a completely risk-free investment.
But then you look at the average savings account at the big banks, and it's just tragic. Some of them are still at like 1%, maybe less.
The gap is massive. And, percentages can feel a bit abstract, so let's put it in real-world terms. Let's say you have $10,000 saved up. If you leave that in let's call it a lazy savings account earning 1% for 5 years, you're going to make about $500 in total interest.
Which is fine. It's something. Buys you a nice dinner, maybe.
Sure. But if you used a proper CD ladder strategy at today's rates, let's say averaging around 4%, that same $10,000 earns you about $2,200 over the same time.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. That's a $1,700 difference.
It is.
That's not a nice dinner. That's a vacation. That's a new laptop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's the same starting money, and this is the crucial part, the same amount of risk, which is basically zero. The only difference is how you organize it.
Okay, I'm sold on the concept, but I need you to sell me on the organized part. Because CD ladder still sounds complicated.
So the mistake most people make is they go all in. They have $10,000, they see the 5-year CD has the highest rate, so they just dump it all in there.
Go big or go home?
Right. But now you've created that exact prison you were talking about. If you need $2,000 for a medical bill in a couple of years, you have to break the entire CD. You paid a penalty on the whole thing.
Which is why I never buy them.
A ladder changes the whole structure. Instead of one big lump, you split that $10,000 into, say, 5 smaller chunks. And you buy CDs with staggered maturity dates.
Staggered. Okay, so I'm building rungs on a ladder.
You are. For the classic version, you'd open a 1-year, a 2-year, a 3-year, a 4-year, and a 5-year CD, all on the same day.
Wait, pause. You want me to open 5 different accounts? That sounds like a total nightmare. I'm picturing 5 logins, 5 tax forms.
Yeah.
Is the juice really worth the squeeze here?
It feels like a lot of homework on day one, I admit.
Yeah.
But just stay with me on the structure for a second. We'll get to a hack for that later.
Okay. So I have these 5 CDs, but the 1-year rate is lower than the 5-year rate. By splitting it up, aren't I just voluntarily taking a lower interest rate on some of my money?
In the first few years, yes, your overall blended rate is a bit lower. But here's where the magic happens. It's called the rolling effect.
The rolling effect.
Fast forward 1 year from today,
Huh.
February 2027. Your 1-year CD matures. You now have that chunk of cash plus interest sitting right there in your account.
So I have liquidity. If I needed it, the cash is there.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You're never more than 12 months away from accessing a piece of your money penalty-free.
Oh.
But let's say you don't need it. What do?
I assume I reinvest it.
You do, but you don't buy another 1-year CD. You take that money and you buy a new 5-year CD.
A 5-year? But I thought we were staggering them.
We are. Think about it. Your original 2-year CD now only has 1 year left.
Yeah.
Your original 3-year has 2 years left. By adding a new 5-year CD to the back of the line, you're just extending the ladder.
Oh, I get it. Okay, so every single year, one CD matures, and I just roll it into a new long-term one at the end.
Bingo. You do that for 5 years, and suddenly every single CD in your portfolio is a 5-year CD, earning that top-tier 5-year rate. But because of how you set it up, One of them matures every single year.
That's actually really clever. You end up with the high yield of a long-term investment, but the liquidity of a one-year investment.
It's the best of both worlds. It just takes a little patience to get the engine running.
All right, let's make this really concrete. Let's use a real example. Say a listener, let's call her Sarah, has $5,000 sitting in savings.
Perfect. So Sarah takes her $5,000. She divides it by 5. That's $1,000 per rung on her new ladder.
Okay. What kind of rates is she looking at right now, realistically?
Based on the data for February 2026, a pretty realistic spread would be she puts $1,000 into a one-year CD at, say, 3.75%.
Which is already way better than her savings account.
Oh, absolutely. Then another $1,000 into a 2-year at maybe 4.00%, $1,000 into a 3-year at 4.15%, a 4-year at 4.28%, and the last grand goes into the 5-year at 4.25%.
Okay, so she's got a mix, a portfolio.
Exactly. Now, a year goes by. It's 2027. She doesn't need the cash. Her one-year CD matures. She gets her $1,000 back plus, about $37 in interest.
Yeah.
She takes that money.
And buys a new 5-year CD.
And buys a new 5-year CD,
Yeah.
probably at that nice 4.25% rate. She's cycling her lower interest money into the high-yield buckets year after year.
I love that. But I have to play devil's advocate here. This sounds a little too perfect. What's the catch? Why isn't everyone doing this?
Well, there are definitely downsides. We have to be critical. The first big one is something called opportunity cost.
The I could have made more money somewhere else problem.
Exactly. We're excited about 4.25%.
Yeah.
But the stock market, the S&P 500, has historically returned about 10% a year over the long run.
That's a huge trade-off.
It is. By choosing the safety of a CD, you're explicitly saying, I'm willing to give up potential growth to avoid any risk of loss. A CD ladder isn't a wealth-building machine. It's a wealth preservation machine.
And speaking of preservation, we have to talk about this silent killer, inflation.
The most important concept people forget, it's called your real return. If your CD pays you 4%, but inflation is running at 3%, you didn't really make 4%.
You made 1%.
Right, because the cost of everything else went up. So if inflation ever spikes to, say, 5%, a CD ladder earning 4% is actually losing purchasing power.
That is a depressing but necessary reality check. And one more con. What if Sarah needs all $5,000 tomorrow?
Then the ladder kind of collapses on itself. You have to break those CDs before they mature, and you'll pay a penalty. Usually it's about 3 to 6 months of interest.
So you could wipe out all the profit you made that year.
You could, which is why, and I cannot stress this enough, a CD ladder is not an emergency fund. Your car broke down, money needs to be in a high-yield savings account where you can get it instantly.
Tier 2 savings.
Got it. Okay, let's get into the how-to.
Yeah.
You mentioned a hack earlier for my complaint about opening 5 different bank accounts.
I did. It's something called brokered CDs.
Brokered CDs. Explain.
So if you have an investment account at a big brokerage, like a Fidelity or Schwab or Vanguard, you can actually buy CDs from hundreds of different banks right inside that one account. Wait, really? So I can log into my one brokerage account and buy a CD from some small bank in Kansas and another one from a big national bank.
Exactly. It's like a supermarket for CDs. You see a whole list of rates from banks all over the country. You just click buy, and it shows up in your account right next to your stocks.
That completely solves the login nightmare.
It does. And it helps you avoid the lazy tax.
The lazy tax.
Yeah, that's what you pay when you just use your current big bank for convenience. The ones with the marble floors and the stadium naming rights. They don't really need your deposits, so they might only offer you 1.5% on a CD.
Whereas the online banks or the ones on the brokerage sites are offering much more.
They're hungry. They're offering the 4.25%. On that $5,000 ladder, the difference between the convenient bank and the competitive rate could be hundreds of dollars over the years.
Laziness is expensive. Okay, so we've got the classic 1 to 5 year ladder. What if 5 years just feels like an eternity?
Then you build a mini ladder.
Shorter terms, I'm guessing.
Exactly. Instead of years, you use months. You can do a 3-month, a 6-month, a 9-month, and a 12-month CD. Your money is churning constantly, so cash is unlocking every 3 months.
Okay, I like that. Then I saw something called the barbell strategy. Sounds like a workout.
It kind of is for your money. Imagine a barbell, weight heavy on the ends, nothing in the middle.
Right.
With this, you buy short-term CDs, like 6-month ones, for immediate access. And you buy long-term CDs, like 5-year ones, for the highest yield. You completely skip the middle rungs.
Why would you do that?
Because sometimes the 2, 3, and 4-year rates just aren't that exciting. This gives you the best of the extremes. High liquidity on one end, high reward on the other.
And the last one, the bullet ladder. This seems like it would be for Sarah and her house goal.
Exactly. The bullet is for a specific target date. Sarah wants to buy a house in, say, 2030. She needs all the money ready then.
So she works backward.
She works backward. Today, in 2026, she buys a 4-year CD. Next year, she buys a 3-year CD. The year after that, a 2-year.
So they're all timed to mature at the exact same moment.
Boom! They all mature in the same month, right before she needs that down payment.
That is incredibly satisfying to think about. Okay, so let's wrap this up. If I'm a listener, how do I know if I'm a CD ladder person?
You're a CD ladder person if you have a midterm goal, like 2 to 5 years out. A wedding, a down payment, a big trip. You need the money to be there, absolutely guaranteed. No stock market gambling.
And it's for people who want safety. Retirees, maybe.
Absolutely. People who need reliable income from their savings without watching their net worth swing wildly.
And who is this absolutely not for?
If you were 25 and saving for retirement in 40 years, do not do this. You're being way too safe. You need the growth of the stock market.
And again, not for the emergency fund.
Never for the emergency fund.
So to summarize, a CD ladder is about maximizing certainty. It's not about getting rich quick. It's about getting rich slowly and safely.
It's about optimization. It's
Yeah.
looking at that lazy money in your account and giving it a job to do.
I like that. Get a job, money.
But I want to leave everyone with one final thought. When you build a ladder today, in early 2026, you're essentially making a bet
A bet on what?
on interest rates. If you lock in 4% today, and next year inflation goes crazy and banks start offering 8% CDs, well, you're going to feel a little silly holding that 4% paper.
Right. Reinvestment risk.
It is. But if rates crash down to 1%, you'll feel like a genius. So the real question to ask yourself is, are you building this ladder because you think you know what rates will do, or are you building it because you admit you don't know?
I think admitting you don't know is usually the smartest financial move you can make.
I'd agree with that. Humility pays dividends. Literally.
Well, on that note, we'll wrap it up. Hopefully, we've made this idea sound a little less terrifying and a lot more profitable. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.
See you next time.